Hello everyone and very warm welcome back to the channel. Now in the intentions, this video should have been dedicated to my Merciful Fate vinyl collection, but that one project had to be postponed for a number of reasons. First of all, it's pretty time demanding because I found out that my Merciful Fate vinyl collection is actually bigger than I remembered it was. If we're counting all the official releases, I think we are well over 40/50 LPs, so that will take some time to be filmed. It will hopefully be uploaded in the coming weeks. And second reason is that I was busy in the last 2 weeks, I would say. I was traveling in Mexico. I spent like 10 days in the country, enjoying every single moment of my trip. Absolutely amazing country. Still fighting with a jet lag, and third and last and most important reason is that in the meanwhile I sold 3 records from my collection, which of course have a priority over everything else, considering they need to be put in the mail as soon as possible, not to get the new owners mad at me. Now, these 3 records you're about to see are among my all-time favorite records. All of them, they have been played a lot, but still carefully stored throughout the years, so they are all in perfectly mint condition, so the new owners will definitely be happy. Starting off with ARCHGOAT, Angel Count Tales of Desecration, which was discussed in the previous one of the previous videos, which I dedicated to the band ARCHGOAT itself. One of those records which set new standards for black metal. Nobody sounded like ARCHGOAT at the time of its release. This is the original first pressing on Necropolis Records, 1993. This band, next to Beherit, were pioneers of this very specific mixture between black metal and grindcore, which I already discussed in the video dedicated to the band itself, as I said before. And there was nothing sounding like that when this album came out. Maybe Blasphemy from Canada, but they were doing it in a slightly different way. So yeah, if you're into this style, there is no other band doing it better than ARCHGOAT in this LP, which is, in my opinion, their ultimate masterpiece, as well as on their first full-length LP, Whore of Bethlehem, which was released after they got back together. As I said before, this is a perfect copy, and it took me a while to sell it for the right price. I was definitely looking for something like in the 400 euros range of things, ended up selling it for 350, which in my opinion is a totally justified price. Given the importance of this record, its rarity, and the fact that it's just a masterpiece, musically speaking, this is again one of the strongest Finnish metal releases of all time. So I believe the new owner will be happy. The original inner sheet is also included. So yep, perfect copy. Artwork by Chris Moyen when his style was still a little not as overdone as it's today's, but I mean, we're talking about 34 years ago, which is how long this LP has stayed in my collection. Next up, what we have is DARKTHRONE, Ravishing Grimness, 1999 on Moonfog Productions. Again, a perfect copy of this incredibly rare LP. Mind you, back in the day, 1999, we had no idea what the status of the band was all about at all. There was no way to get in touch with anyone from Norway. Bands just stopped replying letters, so the only source of information we had at the time were fanzines or like magazines like Nordic Visions, which I believe was the first one that introduced the Ravishing Grimness and anticipated its release. So when the record hit the stores, there was a lot of curiosity and a lot of anticipation, and we were all thrilled to have a new record by the band in the stores, because like the previous one was already 3 years old when this album came out. Talking about Total Death, year of release 1996. So yeah, 3 years passed. And a lot of rumors were running around. Some were even suggesting that DARKTHRONE were no longer active, they had split up or whatever. And when this record hit the stores, fanboys like myself just had to rush for it because it was very, very hard to find. Only 500 copies pressed, and it was very, very expensive to be found. I remember I paid 47,000 liras for it. It was in pre-Euros times. Nowadays it would be like easily 50 bucks slash euros, which even by today's standards, it's a lot of money when I think about it. Like for a brand new record, it was easily like double the price of a brand new record. Remember 1999? Yeah, brand new records were selling for like half the price of this one. But what to do really? Even, my store reference, which I always mention in my episodes, namely Helion Records from Germany, was charging, I think, 50 German marks for it, so it was pretty much the same price. And you had to be very lucky to find it inside the stores, because as I said before, it was very, very rare, 500 copies only. I believe they re-released it on blue vinyl. This is the original first pressing on black vinyl. Musically speaking, a really solid and underrated Darkthrone record, kind of like more mid-tempo if compared to the previous Darkthrone releases, but still very, very solid, very, very strong, and it would definitely deserve a bit more recognition these days. I believe it's not discussed enough. It's much better than the record that followed, namely Plague Wielder, which is still in my possession, so if you're looking for a copy of the original first pressing of that one, that is still available. This one has been sold again, didn't go cheap. It was like 400 euros, which a new owner paid for it. I believe it will be even more expensive to be found with the years, because it's very rare. It was rare back in the days, and it can only get rarer nowadays when people are literally paying the price of gold for these LPs. A great record, which I would definitely recommend everyone. If you don't own it yet, try to find it. I believe it has been repressed several times. There is a picture disc edition, which I believe was the very first edition. Moonfog first released the picture disc and then the regular vinyl pressing, but of course the regular vinyl is way, way harder to track down. Last and certainly not least, now this one is again a record which sucks to get rid of. I was spinning it today. Every time I sell a record, I always spin it, I give it one last spin just to make sure it's in perfect state. And when the very last notes of Hammerheart, which is the closing track from this album, made their way through the turntable, it was kind of like wouldn't say emotional, but not too far off that. Really, it was one of those moments when I really felt like, like a phase of my life is over, and it's time to move on in life. What I definitely know is that I still love this record quite a lot. Even if my interest in metal these days is not what it used to be, this record still managed to capture my attention. I loved it back in the day, still love it nowadays. I will have to find it some kind of like repress either on CD or vinyl repress, whatever, because I know that it's one of those records that sooner or later I will get back to. And not having it in the collection anymore kind of sucks, but again, it's sold for a pretty penny, so I won't really complain about it. Original first pressing, of course, it was again bought back in the day, and I hope the new owner will be satisfied. Musically, there isn't really much that needs to be said concerning the quality of Bathory. This is the very last, in my opinion, classic Bathory album, if we're not considering Blood on Ice, which is of course an older recording released in 1996. But yeah, when it comes to this kind of like Nordic, if you're into this kind of like, Norse mythology, pagan, whatever you wish to call it, stuff, there is nothing stronger than Bathory, in my humble opinion. No Amon Amarth, no pagan bullshit black metal ever comes close to the brilliance, to the magnificence of this album. This one, Hammerheart, and to a minor extent Bloodfire Death, are like everything you need if you like this specific kind of music. So guys, that does it for this short update on my vinyl selling, on my collection vinyl selling process. Let me know down in the comments what you think about these 3 records. Do you own them in your personal collection? Do you like them as much as I did? Would you ever consider selling them? Probably not, but I mean, for this kind of money, you will probably think twice before saying no to offers like the ones I got. So guys, till the next time, keep it loud and heavy as always.